Okay, today I want to show you a couple of ipython enhancements that I've made in Scimax recently that I think will make it a lot closer to what Jupyter is like and all the advantages of being in org mode. So the first thing is I used the Jupyter notebooks for the last semester, and there were a couple of things that I really liked. One of them was to be able to insert a block. So you can do something like this, orgbabel insert block, and it will insert a new block above with the cursor ready to go. And you could put some code here, and if you use a prefix on that, then it inserts below so that you can easily add new cells above or below the current cell. So I like that feature. It's just a purely convenience. The other nice thing is if you write a really big block and you now want to split it, you can do that with this new command, orgbabel split source block. So you can do that and just easily split it and have the cursor either end up in the top one or with a prefix arg in the bottom one. And that lets you split the block up so that you can execute them one at a time. And I added an orgbabel execute to point, which will run all of the blocks up to the current point. So that's pretty nice. In the original OB ipython, I found that the inspect never worked unless you were in a special edit mode, and that's because it would look at the point, but it needs a point relative to the beginning of the block so that it can figure out where you are in the code block. So here's an example that shows that the inline figures work. So here is the inline figure that's automatically created in here by using the ipython matplotlib magic. But now if you are over here and you wonder what exactly is this, we just press alt dot and we get a doc string right away that we can look at. And if you do it down here, you get the doc string for the subplot and likewise for the scatter, so you can see all the signature and everything like that. So that's pretty handy to be working with. Now, ipython returns a lot of results. So in this example from SymPy, running this block, let's just do it real quick, gives us three things. We get a plain text, x squared plus y. This is an image, and here is the LaTeX output. I added a new header argument called ob ipython results that allows you to select which one of these you want. So if we look here, you can see I'm selecting the plain text. So if I run this, I only get one of those results. And if I want the image, then I run this and I only get this result. This shows up with pandas too. It outputs multiple data types. So for example, here we created a data frame that has a bunch of random tables or random columns. And if I run this, you get two things that come out, the plain text version and the HTML version of that table. You could select just the plain text version like this, and so here if we run this, you only get the particular result that you want. That's pretty nice. Alright, errors and exceptions are a challenge in org mode. So if you've ever done this, then you know you get a traceback buffer and it shows you what the line is. So let's take a look here. We'll have a traceback that shows the exception is in line 2. And we only have 3 lines here, so it's not that hard, but if you have 20 or 30 lines, it can be tricky to find it. Scimax now, when I press Q to bury this, will jump directly to the line that's there and even show me the line numbers over here. And so we can say comment this line out, run it again, and now it will work and the line numbers disappear. So that's usually pretty helpful for debugging purposes. If you don't like the line numbers, you can turn them off with this variable. So finally, I want to talk about asynchronous ipython. So far, when you run a code block, it totally blocks Emacs and you can't do anything till it's done, which is not bad for jobs that take a second or less, but it's not convenient at all if you have a job that takes 5 minutes and you want to do something else. So I added a whole lot of features to do asynchronous execution. To turn it on, we set this variable, so that will make asynchronous execution the default, and let's take a look at what happens. So here is an example of a code block that's going to take 5 seconds to run. So when I run this, it generates a name, and the names have to be unique. You can create your own name if you want. Let's run it again, and it generates a link down here that tells me it's running. So it only takes about 5 seconds to run, and while it's running, I can do all kinds of things. You know, my keyboard is still alive, and we can do things. Now let's run this one last time, and now run this one, and here we'll see a link that it's queued. And so when this one's run, there's no results for this. Let's add one so you can tell it's done. And it will go through, and as soon as this one's done, then it outputs 15 down here. So I've tested this mostly with the setup that I use with these results output drawer, and a few other kinds of tests. If you want to stop it while it's running, you just click this link and it cancels the whole thing. And it looks like it's going to be pretty useful in general. So those are the main new things in Scimax with ipython that are in the current Git repo of Scimax. Try it out, report any bugs, and we'll see if we can get them fixed. That's it for today.